Hi. Please say something so that I know that I did this right. Oh yeah, Erin. Very first. Say hi to Ella. She's the thumb one. Look at her thumbs. She's tiny. Yeah. Stefan just got a little baby kitten. Ella's actually really small. It's funny, whenever I take pictures of her, she looks bigger than she is, but she's really small. She's tiny. Look how little her head is. She's being really cute right now. I guess she's tired. Maybe she'll hang out with me. Hello, Katie, Elodia, Eugenio, Timmy, Alex, Damaris, Sarah, Mina, Tanya. How is everybody? I'm good. I just got out of the shower. I don't know. I looked at myself in the mirror and I realized that I should probably take a shower for this so that my so my hair looked a little better, but it looks all fucked up anyway. Ella is getting an awesome present. Oh yay. Ow, fucking shit. I just cut her nails yesterday, so it's not that bad, but it still sucks. My nipples. I used to be really scared of cats, for anyone that didn't know that. This is my bedroom. I'm always taking videos from in here, and people always think that it's like my little sister's room or something, but it's my room. I really love pink, and I kind of always felt like a little girl inside my head, so I made my room represent what's going on inside here. We have the same water bottle. Erin. Let's talk about this water bottle. Sorry, I know this is new for me. I don't usually do these live, so if I look like I'm glitching and I'm stopping, I'm looking at all your comments. This water bottle, supposedly, you're supposed to drink, I think, 2 of these in a day, and that's like that's your water for the day. It's supposed to be, what you're supposed to have for the whole day. But every time that I fill this up, I can down it immediately. I feel like it's a trick, and the glass is like that thick, and I can have like 6 of these in a day, while if I was trying to adhere to the water guidelines in regular glasses, it's like almost impossible for me to drink that much water unless I'm playing shows. Then I always think, when I'm playing shows, am I really getting enough water? I'm overexerting myself. So like if I'm drinking a ton of extra water, I probably even need more water on top of that. I don't know. Every time that I figure out how to really drink that much water, I'm also peeing all night long. I don't know if it's good or what. I guess it's good for some things. All right, I'm going to go see if there's a whole lot of hellos. Let's start with Eugenio's. So, how are you? I am well. This is pretty wild right now. We're just like, everyone's freaking out. Everyone's freaking out about this quarantine thing, understandably, right? No one knows when everything's going to go back to normal. But I'm bummed out that I'm not playing shows, but I've also not been home consecutively for more than 2 weeks at a time in the past 3 years. So I'm actually pretty stoked to be here. Whenever I am home in between tours, I never want to leave my house. I just like to stay at home and watch TV and hang out with the cats. Being on tours, like, I know I don't party anymore, but I still like to go to the parties. And a lot of times when I'm with Rammstein too, and on the last Lindemann tour, I'm hosting the parties and DJing and stuff. So I'm always in that kind of atmosphere. And I love that when I'm on tour and being social. And then when I come home, I just really don't want to do that. The only thing that'll really get me out of the house when I'm home is going to see a friend's band play. And I live in New York City. Well, I live right next to New York City in Jersey City. And but it takes me 15 minutes to get into the city on a train. And so it's pretty much the same as living in Brooklyn. I'm just in another state. And I actually live right next to the park that is the park for the Statue of Liberty. So when my ankle's not fucked up, I see someone just asked me about my ankle. I'll tell you in a minute. When my ankle is not fucked up, I'm usually doing a little jog to the water where I can see Manhattan. And I mean, I can see Manhattan right outside my windows. But well, technically, no, I can't see it outside my windows. I have to go out the front door because my windows face a different direction. But I run to the water, say hi to the Statue of Liberty. I do this thing when I'm running. It takes me about 10 to 12 minutes to run to the water. And it's like a mile. So maybe it's like 20 minutes. I'm not like a fast runner. I got to do it super slow. And the whole time when I'm running, it's always the time when I'm getting the most creative and I'm having the best ideas for what's going to happen on tour and during a live show. I'm always listening every time I'm running to like whatever songs I'm going to be playing on the next tour, coming up with ideas on movements to do in the songs or like things to do on the stage and exciting. I'm just always super inspired. My adrenaline's going. And I also think the whole time about all the things that I'm thankful for. And I do this thing when I get to the water, I stop and I run in place. Because if I stop, I'm like, fucked. I can't run again, right? So I run and I jog in place and I say all the things that I'm thankful for with my hand over my heart and look at the Manhattan because the city, New York City is my favorite place on earth. There's tons of places I like to visit and travel to and would consider living in for a short period of time. But New York City, it's the best place in the world to me. I'm very thankful to be living here and I just get the best energy from it. So I always say what I'm thankful for, and then I turn around and run home. That's my morning ritual usually. But then the other day I hurt my ankle really bad. I'm going to tell you about it. I see everyone's questions too. You guys are starting to ask like real good questions and not just saying hi. So I'm going to go back to everything. Don't worry. But let me tell my ankle story since I just told my running story. So in our apartment complex, I got to fix this pillow over here. This pillow's killing me. A little better? All right. That's my like long body pillow. I'm a belly sleeper. And Emma's always trying to steal it from me. The bed's actually getting all fucked up. I'm gonna get a new bed. I did these like fake leather, plasticky kind of furnitures. They're nice for a few years, and then after I'd say about like 6 or 7 years, the plastic starts coming off. So I have a bunch of furniture that I got like some years ago with my ex-girlfriend friend who I live with again, which is a whole other story. You guys can feel free to ask me about that in the comments if you want. But we've got all this furniture together a long time ago. It's all starting to fall apart at the same time now. But yeah, my ankle. So in our apartment, we have like a parking lot in the front, and it's a private parking lot, and there's a gate. So when you are pulling in, I don't have a car because I'm just always, if I'm going anywhere, it's in the city. So I just take trains. You don't want to really drive in the city. So whenever a car goes in or out, the gate, they hit a clicker and the gate opens and the car goes in. And then like after a minute, the gate starts closing like super slow, like, and if you walk through the gate while it's closing, it's like an elevator and it just opens it, that you hear like and it opens the gate back up. And Emma and I were going on a little quarantine run. I will show you the cat shortly. Again, Emma and I were going on a little quarantine run. And as I walked, it was my first time outside in a few days. And I guess I was a little excited, and I opened the front door, and there's like a bunch of steps, and it's like a 6-second walk from the front door down the stairs and through the gate. And the gate was closing, and I'm like, I'm gonna make it. And I keep saying that I was picturing that I was inspired by Indiana Jones at that moment, and I was like, dun, 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 dun. I was like gonna like slide through the thing, like when the thing goes down, and he's like, and he gets through, and I did that, and the gate was like, it was like this, and right when I got there, so I had to go sideways, and I was like, fuck it, and I jumped through sideways. And so I'm able to stand up. I'll tell you about how it's doing in a minute. So I jump. So I jump through. I'm like all standing like this, and I jump. And when I got on this side, my foot landed, and it went, and like my ankle here hit the concrete, and my foot went like that. And I heard a big pop, and I felt this in my whole body, and I never experienced this. I've hurt myself pretty bad before, especially in Comedy Christ when I used to get really wasted. I don't drink anymore, but I used to get really wasted and just to be really, really reckless on stage. And eventually it was a more mature, controlled chaos, but in the beginning it was just chaos. I'd broken bones. One time Andy had thrown my floor tom at me while I was playing, because it had hit him first, because I threw it at him. And he threw it back at me, and I used to play in my socks, and I went like to block it while I was playing. We were opening for Rammstein. We were in Europe, actually in Sweden. And I blocked the drum, and I fractured this bone here. And I had to keep doing the tour, and there was nothing they could do for it, and it was a lot of pain, but I just drank my way through it. Anyway, I snapped my ankle in half the other day. I fell on the floor, and then I'm like on the floor right in front of the driveway where the cars are gonna go in and out, and I'm just like really embarrassed, but I'm also in a lot of pain, and Emma's there, and I'm like telling her she's got to move me, and she's real tiny, and I'm really tall. And she's like trying to pull me. She thought I was joking with her the whole time. And the ambulance came, and now I'm just like, holy fuck! Like, I don't think I want to go to the hospital during this whole coronavirus thing. And everyone knows that New York and New Jersey is the same. Like, where I am is pretty much New York City. So the hospitals here are just fucking bananas. And the EMTs came in the ambulance, and I felt so bad for them. They looked like they'd been through a war, and they were almost like kind of relieved to see me. And they were like, "Are you sick? Are you feeling?" I'm like, "No, I just hurt my ankle." And they were like, it was almost like they had a minute to not worry about catching this virus, I guess. And they were like, "Look, if you go to the hospital, you're going to get this virus. There's no two ways about it. Like, we can give you a mask and everything, but I would not go to the hospital if you don't need to." So they made me move my toes, and they were like, "Okay, you're probably not having a broken bone, so maybe just see how it is tomorrow." And I went in my house. They had to carry me inside. Like, I have a video of it. I should post it. Like, Emma and one of my roommates, and they have my legs like this on either side, and I'm like, and when we got inside and I got my shoe off, the whole this whole part of my ankle right here was like, I posted a picture of it. I feel like the picture didn't really do it justice, but when I saw it, I completely melted down. I thought my bone was sticking out of my fucking leg. I was and everyone calmed me down, and I was just staying off of it for a couple of days, and then I went on like a virtual doctor's appointment, which was great thing to have now, I guess. And she helped me examine my foot, and she actually had me stand on it, which hurt a lot at first. And she's like, "Yeah, you're okay. Just stay off it for now." And I did for a few days, and I'm actually able to walk. I I sat down and play. I have like a little practice pad drum set downstairs, and I'm able to play with zero pain. I guess like whatever I hurt I hurt like the tendons in here, right? But like my movement that I use for my feet, it doesn't affect it at all. So I'm super stoked. I'm so lucky. So everything is cool. It's a little weird. I want to run real bad, and I tried to like kind of like jog, and then it hurts. If I do like if I do like this or this too fast, it's hurting. But otherwise, it's good. Okay, let's go back and see some of these questions. We have the same water bottle. Pink is amazing. No, I love them. Yeah, I know. Cats. Okay, I saw a few get the cat comments, so I'll get the cat and I'll talk about my previous hate for, now love for cats. You're sweetie. Come on. So, I was always a dog person my whole life. And I just, for some reason, always loved pit bulls. To me, pit bulls are just the most beautiful dog. I could never figure out what it was about them. I just fell in love with every single one that I ever saw. And I always had pit bulls as I got older. My parents would never let me have one, but I mean, right from I had my second apartment when I moved out of my house I was 19, and I had my second apartment, and I got my first like own pit bull. And I've had like 3, I think. I had to give 2 of them away when I started touring. But I always hated cats. And I had this one pit bull, actually, who also hated cats. His name was Sammy, like your cat, Stefan. But this was a pit bull, and he was super, super mellow. And he just always looked depressed, and he really evened out my other dog. I had Pepper and Sammy at the same time, and Pepper was like super jacked, always like ready to go and like wrestle and had all this energy, and Sammy was like super like, oh, he was like literally, I should have named him Eeyore. He actually, if he didn't come with a name, he was a rescue, I would have named him Eeyore, because he was just like Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh. That's his demeanor. But if he saw a cat, he was like, whoo, and he would start talking. You would be like, woo! It was crazy. I got cat hair in my mouth. Huh? So when I love you. So when I started touring, I had to, at first I started taking them with me. I'm going to put her down. I started taking the dogs with me to California and back. And when I started playing in Amen, and I went on my first tour, and I just had my friend Ben that I grew up with, who was living out there at the time, watch the dogs, and they escaped. They broke through his screen in his house, and Pepper came right back, but Sammy was gone, and he was gone for like a week. Luckily, we found him eventually. But funny story, the lady that lived next to Ben was a crazy cat lady, and she had like 40 cats in her house. And Sammy knew, I guess he smelled the cats or something, and he was like, went right to her door. And this lady was like, oh, an animal. Oh, are you lost? And opens her door. Sammy goes in and attacked the cat, killed the cat immediately, and was shaking it around and ran out of the house and brought the cat back up to my friend's house. And it was just bananas. And then my friend was trying to get the cat, and then the dog ran away. We found him 2 weeks later. And then I was putting him in shelters, and it was just like until I get home. This was costing me like $4,000 a month. I think at some points back then it was less money. It was more money than I was making on tour. So I was like just making money to pay my rent and pay for these dogs, and it was just stupid. So I just found homes for them. But I always hated cats. I never got them. I was always really allergic to them, so that was the first thing. And I think cats always knew that I didn't like them, and every time I was around them, they would try to make me like them and kind of like fuck with me and be like, oh, this guy doesn't like cats and he's allergic. Let's go and rub our bodies on him and make him sneeze. And annoy him. I don't know what it was, but they had the radar for me not liking them, and they would always try to make me like them or annoy me. But anyway, one day something clicked with me, and I've even lived with a couple of cats. Like one of my ex-girlfriends had a cat, and I tried really hard to bond with it, but I could never really like figure it out. And then I started living where I live now, which is actually my old apartment that I moved in with Megan when I was dating Megan. And we broke up eventually, became very good friends. Again, she's like my sister now. And I moved back in, and we're roommates now. I live here with, my girlfriend, and she's downstairs with her boyfriend. And when I moved back in here, she had absorbed our friend and former neighbor's cat. So I got to know this cat, and this cat's not very nice. This is Fernet. He's older. He's like maybe 7 or 8 years old now. So he's not a nice cat. He's like not cut, but I just kind of I got obsessed with trying to break down his barriers and like get him to like calm down and let me love him. And I just really started studying him kind of, and I realized that cats are just really weird and quirky little animals, and you just can't compare them to dogs. So I think once I got over that, something clicked inside me, and I was just like, cats are awesome. Shortly after that, it was like the universe knew. And Emma used to have a car before she was living with me, and over here, like they have the street cleaners come, so every couple of days you can only park on this side or that side after a certain time. So it's normal if you can't find a spot on the good side, you have to go on the other side and wake up early and move the car. So I was doing that. I was waking up at like 7 a.m. I'm like, oh, gotta go move this car. And I go outside to move the car, and these 2 little kittens just come up to me. And I'm like, oh my God, why am I not still walking? Like normally I would be like, get the fuck out of here, stupid kittens, And I'm like, what's happening? And I get down, and they jump on my lap, and I'm like, oh my God. And that was it. And that was Carl and Ella, and they were little tiny babies. And I was like, wow, they chose me. And, that evening I spent about $800 at the vet, and now I clean up their poop. All right. Lots of questions. I'm sorry. I'm talking too much. Ooh, 222. It's my lucky number. Peeing. Okay, wait. Okay. I do love the poster behind the Jesus statue. Where did you get it from? That poster is actually from a friend of mine. I'm saying it slow because I forget her art name. I'm going to look it up right now because she's one of my favorite artists. Her name is Kate Logan. And I think that her art name is like Kate backwards or something. Wait, let me see. I'll find it. Yeah. Art Attack. So it's art and then Kate backwards. And this is the stuff she makes. It's like, you should go follow her. Can you see that? Is it backwards? I think it's backwards and backwards. So it's actually art, A-R-T, A-R-T-E-T-A-K. She makes all this awesome kind of like Lisa Frank type of evil stuff. It's super cute. I love it. That's her, right? Yeah, that's her. And also, actually, I should mention, since Erin is here, that Erin's made me all these awesome jewelry things that she's given to me at shows and sent to me, and they're all hanging over there. They're like beautiful crystals and stuff, and they're hanging on Jesus. No, I am not religious, for anyone wondering. I just like religious statues. Okay. Peeing all night long. Do you stand up for it? It's funny you should ask. I do not stand up to pee. Unless I am in a really gross bathroom, I sit down to pee because I feel that I can fully relax and get the best release. How is your ankle? I already covered that because I saw this question earlier. I have a feeling we're in this for a while. Okay, I'll try and keep it shorter. I visited Brick, New Jersey for the Rammstein concert on Long Island. Was this the Rammstein concert at Jones Beach? I know where Brick, New Jersey is, so I wonder why you were in Brick, unless you flew into Newark Airport and maybe you stayed in Brick before you went to Jones Beach. The Rammstein concert on Long Island, funny enough, was on my son's birthday, which was one of the only birthdays I've ever gotten to spend at home with him because I'm always on tour. Luckily, that show was 10 miles from my parents' house. So I brought my son to the show for his birthday, and he didn't really like it very much. Show us the cat. I did that. Hi from France. Hi, Sylvain. Okay, I just fucked up. Oh, okay, found it. How? So it's your Indiana Jones ankle? Yes. Okay, I guess this is when I was talking about my ankle, so it was a while ago. Hold on. Nice pants, by the way. Emma loves them, right? That's a funny comment, asshole. So I should talk about it. This is good shit. I don't know if it's like a typical guy thing or whatever, but like whenever I find something that I really like that's comfortable to me, I buy like 10 of them. So oftentimes when you see me on tour, sometimes I am wearing the same thing, but usually I'll have 5 of one outfit and I'll wear that outfit for a week until I'm like, oh, I got to change it. And then I take a shower, change, and I put on the exact same outfit. So these shorts were like my newest find. I actually got them in, they're from H&M, and I got them in camouflage, and I kind of liked them, but they were comfortable and baggy in a really cool way. And I was just like, man, I wish they made them in black. And I do this thing when I'm on tour where I always go into every H&M in every city I'm in just to see, because H&M in different places around the world has different cool, sometimes really cool jackets. So I've gotten some really weird, like off the cuff cool jackets at H&M. I do like 75% of their stuff is just like whatever, but I do most of my shopping there. I always find like a few things that I really like, and then I'll buy a bunch of them, and I'm just good for a few years. So I was actually in Prague on the Rammstein tour last summer, and and Richard always gets a really big kick out of that. Like every day we get to a new city. He's like, "You gonna go to the H&M?" I'm like, "Yup." I go to the hotel, freshen up, go out to the H&M and to get a coffee. And we were in Prague, and I went to the H&M, and I found these pants, and I bought like 12 pairs of them. So, and my girlfriend hates it because I'm always wearing the same thing. And she does put a lot of effort into taking care of herself and looking very nice for me. And that's her complaint is, look, I do well, and then I'm okay. And, I go and I put a new pair of the same shorts on for her. Pet. Yes, I hate spiders. Getting my kitten in 4 weeks. Any ideas for names? I mean, I need to see the kitten. I would love to be involved with naming your kitten. Please hit me up when you have it. We'll come up with a great name. I tried to name Ella Snowflake because she had like this little, when they were small, they were like the same size. Now she's really small. Oh, who's this? Who's this? I think it's Angry Fernet. No, it's Carl. This is Carl. He's bigger, and he's very mushy. He's the one that, if you guys saw the video I posted on the private Instagram the other day, he chirps at me every day. He does this thing like 3 or 4 times a day where he goes either in the bathtub or in the stairwell that is leading up to my room, and he just goes, "Meow," and I look at him and I go, "Meow," and he goes, "Ma," and we do it like back and forth 6 or 7 times, and then he stops, and I'm like, okay, you're done, and I walk away. So maybe, oh, it's Fernet is here too. Everyone knows it's the cat party. Come here. Hey, angry boy. Okay, you got this off one. All right. Okay. Do I ever write my own music, Christian? Christian, it's funny that you should ask that. No. I actually have an endorsement with Native Instruments, which is the DJ equipment that I use, like Tractor and stuff like that. And over the years, I have purchased almost every piece of music production equipment that they put out. And every time, I think that it was like, when you're a kid and you're playing basketball, not that I played basketball, but I know that I remember being young and everyone playing basketball and wanting to have Air Jordans because they felt like they would jump higher, right? So every time that Native Instruments put something out, I love all of their stuff because it lights up different colors. And I'm always like, I need that. Yep, I'm going to be a producer. So I always buy it all. I get a discount because I'm endorsed by them, but I buy it all and then I don't know how to use it. But Daniel and Elliot have committed to teaching me how to use it so that we can now write songs together. And I'm very excited about it. I'm going to start right now. I have bits and pieces of an electronic drum set downstairs. The bulk of it is at my parents' house, but I have some stuff that I've been touring with that I'm kind of like Frankensteining together. I'm waiting for some chords to come in the mail. And then once it's operational, Daniel's going to teach me how to use Logic and record drum parts. So he's going to send me, and I'm excited. I'm very excited about that. Okay. Oh my God. How did you get the allergy away? I've heard allergies go away after, or like you recycle your allergies after every 7 years or something. I don't know. I'm not really allergic anymore. When I come home from tour, I might be like a little sneezy for a day, but the biggest thing is like, I just can't like pet them a lot. And then if I rub my eye and I forget that I pet them, then it's like over. But I've learned that if I just wash my hands really good and then I rub my eyes again really good with water and dry them, it gets fine. I mean, I'd say maybe like 4 times a year, I have to take a Claritin, which is like an allergy medicine, just because I can't handle it. Okay. Not really a question, but it would be nice if you could join the Aesthetic Perfection Discord. Elliot and Daniel are already there. You're the only one left to join. P.S. It's better than Facebook. It's funny that you should say this because when I created the Patreon, it has something in there about Discord, and I tried reading and understanding what it is, and I just don't understand what it is. So if you can help me figure it out, I'll join it, and then maybe I'll make one too. I don't know. Is that something that I should do too? Or should I just do that one? You tell me. Write me privately, please, and we'll figure it out. It's a good place to share your Patreon info and everything else you want to share with the fans. Sounds good. Let me know. Nina said, I apologize for hating on Megan. I'm following her on Instagram. She's cool and does make beautiful tats. No worries, Mina. I used to hate on lots of people that I don't hate on anymore. And I think that's just a part of life and growing up is, getting in touch with yourself enough to realize that you shouldn't harbor any weird feelings towards one another, towards other people. I mean, we're all still guilty of that sort of thing here and there, but I always strive to just not have negative feelings at all in my life. And if I do have them, I try and sort them out right away. And generally, I'm pretty positive and happy. If you aren't running, are you at least killing your abs? I'm on day 6 of the ab thingy, and I'm feeling it. That's awesome. I'm so proud of you. I did it once, and I didn't do it again because I got lazy. But I'll let you give me shit about that privately. Please text me later, and then I will do it. I promise. I'll do it today. Jesse Piper, the proud owner of a Morgan Rose custom drumhead. For those of you who do not know who Morgan Rose is, he's one of my favorite drummers and biggest influences growing up, who I recently became good friends with a few years ago. And Jesse, he's a drummer for Seven Dust, and Jesse, who's in the chat, is a big Morgan Rose fan and Seven Dust fan and friend, and we've all hung out together on several occasions. And he ordered a custom drum head from me, and he said, I give you complete artistic freedom to do whatever you want. And I was like, I'm not the best, I'm no Picasso, but I was like, I'm going to draw Morgan. And you want to see it? I'll show you the picture. And I just texted it to Morgan yesterday, and he was dying. Hold on. Where are you? Never mind. It's going to take me to, I have like, you know how many photos I have on my phone? 95,000 photos. Okay. How do I come up with the live drum parts for electronic music is what you're asking. The way that I operate usually is I try and, because a lot of electronic bands, you're playing on top of drum tracks live. And the reason why people do that is because the drum tracks don't sound human, so they're more electronic. So bands like to keep that stuff for everyone to hear and then add a live element over it, right? So what I always do, my bass is always learn the songs exactly the way they are on the CD. And then once that's like ingrained in my brain, I stop listening to the drum parts when I'm playing, and I start listening to whatever is catchy in the song, like a synthesizer lead or like a vocal pattern. Like, for example, in Gods and Gold, Aesthetic Perfections, the first song on the new record, Richard Kruspa played guitar on it, right? It's the Rammstein guitar sounding song that we've been opening the shows with. And the chorus on the record is just, and then when Daniel does this vocal hook, it's like, and I do that on the snare drum, and I actually end the song like that. That's like a really dynamic thing to bring, like, live element. For me, people that are used to hearing the song on record will hear things like that live, and it makes it extra exciting. And I oftentimes find myself following the synthesizer. So like, if a synthesizer is like that, like I'll subconsciously hear that and start putting my pickup notes from on my snare drum there, or like off tom hits, and like build my drum fills around all that stuff so that everything sounds like it's just working together. I don't know. It's like meditative what's happening and coming out of my body, and I'm just like making these rhythm. I'm like, that's what's going on in this noggin. Okay, let's see. What's the story with Nancy? Wait, where was that? Shit. What's the story with Nancy? How did she come into existence? Well, the way that Nancy came into existence, I mean, I automatically went to the history, like through the history of all of my characters and the evolution of where I got to with performing in characters and stuff like that, which is, I guess, a whole nother story. But if we're going to talk specifically about Nancy, my son got a birthday present one year that was this thing, this mouth game called Say What, that opened your mouth and you're supposed to say words and the other person's supposed to guess what it is. And he put it in his mouth and he turned around and he was like, "Hey, Dad." And I'm like, what is this thing? And I was like, I ordered a bunch of those things, and I built a look around it. I mean, the way that I always come up with looks is I'm following like hundreds of drag queens and artists and people that do really crazy makeup and stuff, and I'm always looking through Instagram, and when I see an art or makeup or something that I like that I'm inspired by, like instantly I just bookmark it to a makeup folder, and slowly like certain things will resonate with me, and it's like I'm always subconsciously creating these looks inside my head. And then another part of the process for me actually is spending way too much money purchasing all the stuff that I need to get to a certain place where I create a look, which all the stuff that I was wearing for Nancy probably cost $600 or $700, but I probably spent $5,000 to get there because I'm going constantly to stores. Oh God, if I'm on tour and I'm like in the middle of trying to come up with a new look or something, and we stop at a Walmart, which we do like every other day, it's not weird for me to spend $600 at a Walmart with just like, after walking around for 3 hours, like, oh yeah, I could do something with this. I could do something with this. Everyone drives everyone on tour crazy because I have so much shit all the time. And then I just have all this stuff. I get stressed out. And then one day it's like that magic day happens, and I put all these different elements together for the first time, and whoa, my chair just went bananas. And with Nancy, the first time I put it together was right before the show in Las Vegas with Combi Christ. It was the first show of that tour. I think it was the Lords of Acid tour. And I was getting ready in this little motorhome in the backstage in this alley, because there was no backstage at that place that we were playing in Vegas. And I was like, okay, I remembered the black nose from like this one picture, and this girl, and then this other picture with the yellow ears, and then the mouth. And like, I just put it all together, and I was like, whoa, this is fucking crazy. And then I just walked on stage, and it was an instant hit. And I think for me, I just always was trying to push myself to do weirder stuff. I just get the biggest kick out of people being confused by me, you know? One of the best things ever was that people who didn't know the band would see the show, and then I might be at the merch booth after the show with looking normal, and then hearing people talk about me and thinking I was a woman, and then arguing about it with one another, and I'm standing right there, and they're just like, no, it was a girl, but she was real ugly. And it's like, no, it wasn't. I know it's. And I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna go over here now. You know, I love it. I get the biggest kick out of it. Okay, where am I at? What's the worst smelling place you've been? I don't know. I don't know. Oh, the bathroom in Penn Station, New York City, I'd say. What is my favorite Baby Yoda meme? Well, I made a Baby Yoda meme t-shirt. That would have to be my favorite. Should I show it to you? Hold on. There it is. Oh, it is Baby Yoda, and it just says memes. No, Carl is not the Polly. Ella is. Okay, cute kitty. Carl's pretty eyes. What is my favorite place to go in New York City? I mentioned earlier that I don't really love going out of my house too much when I'm home in between tours. So I guess I'd have to pick like a favorite restaurant that whenever I'm going on tour, I always like to have like certain meals that I appreciate right before I leave and right when I get home too. So there was this, I know there's a million taco places in the world called Taqueria, but there's one famous one that's in New York, and there's actually one right by my house too. This was my go-to food for a really long time when I was leaving and coming home from tour. But what I really liked from there was the carnitas, and I don't eat meat anymore, so I stopped going there. But other than that, I'd say like I'm always going into the city for shows, and my favorite place to go see shows in New York City is probably Irving Plaza. Favorite place in Europe besides Hungary? Russia. And Prague. How many unicorn plushies do you have? I had thousands. I had to give a bunch of them away because my parents, I used to go in and I used to always go home to my parents' house when I was leaving to and from tours because they lived right near JFK. So a lot of times I would just have all these extra bags of unicorns and I'd put them in the garage there. I still have a room there, but I would put them in the garage and like they wouldn't say anything about it. And then one day my dad was like, "You got to get all these things out of here." And I made this big pile. It was probably the size of two of my bed and like as tall as me in the middle of the driveway. And I took a picture of it. And then I had some people come by and pick them up so they can give them out to people. But what sucks, I wanted to give them out to hospitals. I thought it would be great, but what sucks, I mean, I guess it doesn't suck. It makes a lot of sense, but the hospitals only take gifts that are still in the packaging because I guess bed bugs, and I know all about those. Okay, I think that I'm getting close to the end here, and then I can like really look at all these great questions. Okay, that makes me a little less overwhelmed. What the fuck is Discord, Aaron? You're asking, and I wonder the same thing. So when I find out, I'll tell you, and then you can join it too. That was the Plusfelt show in Berlin, right? I was there too. I don't remember what I was talking about, so say it in the comments. Who's your favorite Game of Thrones character? Oh my god. This is going to sound super cheesy, and I feel like everyone's going to expect. Everyone always expects different answers from me, but I always give the cheesy, girly answers. But Jon Snow, I'm a sucker for romance and honor and positivity, and I just really loved how he just would always get knocked down and be like, "No, oh yeah, I'm dead, but I'm still gonna fuck everything up." And then like he was always like, he was my dude. Timmy loves my drumhead drawings. Thank you, Timmy. Discord, Aaron. It's being explained to us. Discord is basically a chat. It's quite useful for anything really. At first, it was for gamers mostly, but now it's for any kind of community. So that now I remember that I looked through it and I looked like it was for gamers. So I figured that I shouldn't do it, and I just kind of stopped looking into it. And then I noticed everyone posting about the Aesthetic Perfection Discord, and I was like, all right, maybe I should look back into it. Jeffree Star would be jealous of your makeup skills. I don't know about that. I used to be friends with Jeffree, but we haven't talked in a really long time. I don't know if he likes me anymore. When will I publish the next tour diary on my Patreon? So I was planning on doing it tonight after this. I just need to write it, and I always, this is why I won't do it at the same exact specific time every week. In order for me to get out something that in the way I want to get it out, I have to be inspired and like be in the right mood. And sometimes I'm like real tired, or like I don't know, after I'm talking to you guys for an hour or two, whatever it's going to wind up being, like I might be mentally exhausted and I might not want to write it. So I might like have a cup of coffee and see if I can, worst case scenario, I'll do it right when I wake up tomorrow and post it then. That's why I said in my update that I'll always be doing it at different times around the weekend, because I'm always really just, I'd like to consider myself a creative person, and in order to deliver things in a certain way, you really need to be in a certain kind of mind frame, I think. That's why when we're playing live, we have rituals we do before the show to get in the right mind frame. And then, like, I'd say one show out of every 2 weeks, like, it's just impossible to get in that mind frame, and you go on stage and you're like, I don't want to do this right now, but I'll do it anyway, but I'm at home right now and I have all the time in the world and the space to just wait to write those until I'm super inspired. And it's been really awesome for me to write them. I used to write these while I was on tour. And moving forward, when I'm on tour again, I will do it while I'm on tour. But for now, I'm just missing being on tour, and I'm revisiting all my pictures and writing, and I'm going right back to the day. It's crazy how I can remember all this stuff, like, so specifically, but I can. So it's been really therapeutic and fun to do it. So thanks for reading them. I have a question for you. What was it, or who was it that inspired you to say, that's it, fuck yeah, I'm going to be a drummer? Nina asked. And that is an awesome, interesting question. An awesome question with an interesting answer. How about that? By the way, I want to apologize for if I'm speaking weird. I had these braces on my teeth, and I have to go back for like my last checkup, and maybe they give me some more, I think, for a couple of months, because my bottoms are a little weird, but I'm on my last week of my braces right now. What inspired me to be a drummer actually was being able to get out of class for a half hour every week, because the music teacher came in to my class when I was in 3rd grade, Mrs. Boyle's class. And his name was Mr. Zeppelin, and he was this older guy. And he was like, you can learn a music instrument, and you get out of class half hour once a week, and you come to me and I'll teach you the instrument. And I just heard get out of class for a half hour every week, and I just hated school. So I asked him after the class, I was like, what's the easiest one? And he said drums. And I go, okay, I'll do that. But funny enough, for some reason, I was really getting into music right around this time. And I was listening to Poison, Motley Crue, Guns N' Roses. Those were like 3 of my like. I also really, really, like, what I really loved back then was New Kids on the Block and Tiffany and stuff like that. Which to this day I still love pop music, like, tons. But band-wise, I was listening to Poison and Guns N' Roses and Motley Crue. And for some reason, the bass player in Poison was like my dude. His name's Bobby Dahl, and I just always thought he was so cool. So after a couple years of learning drums on the drum pad, my mom was like, if you're taking music serious, why don't we go and get you music lessons from a music teacher outside of school? So I went to the music teacher, and I told him I wanted to play bass, and he wanted to teach me on the big upright bass that students would play in school. And I just didn't want to do that. I wanted the electric bass. I was like, I want to be like the guy in Poison, And my mom turned to me, and this music teacher was old. His name's Frank Marino. He's like the local town music teacher from where I grew up. And he just didn't get where I was at. And my mom goes, why don't you just play drums? And I go, okay. And that's how I became a drummer. And then they got me a drum set, and I drove my neighbors and them crazy for the rest of my life. All right. Anything new in the works for Emigrate, or is that on the back burner right now with all the Rammstein tour chaos? I don't really know how to answer that. I can tell you that Richard and I were looking into a new drum setup for the studio that we were planning on utilizing a lot over the summer for stuff that jamming and stuff that quite possibly would turn into new Emigrate stuff, hopefully. But we haven't had a huge, big talk about it. It was more like an exciting, the excitement of getting stuff together and being prepared and ready to create something new. And then the world went crazy. I'm asking for a friend. Would you rather smash Darth Vader or Voldemort? I'd have to say Voldemort because his makeup was on point. Oh, yes, Jesse, that was great guacamole. Oh, yeah, and I was talking about Irving Plaza earlier. So I saw Irving Plaza is this place in New York. My favorite place ever in New York to see a concert is closed down now. And I never got to play a show there, and I'll forever be bummed out about it. It was called Roseland Ballroom, and it was the first place I ever went to see a concert when I was a kid. I saw Offspring on the Smash tour. I was probably like 13 or 14. I played every single venue that I can think of in New York, including Madison Square Garden, and I did not play that place, and it closed down. I think Lady Gaga did the last shows there. And but anyway, I'll never forget the first time I went to Irving Plaza. It was the first time I saw Marilyn Manson when I was 15. And I didn't know who Marilyn Manson was or what it was. I did like Ministry and Nine Inch Nails. And, back then you couldn't really look things up on the internet like you did today. You would just get records and look at the book and wait, maybe they would be a magazine with an interview and some pictures. And I used to collect all of them and put it on my walls in my parents' room, in my parents' house, in my room when I was growing up. And my cousin was like, look at this band Marilyn Manson. We're going to go see them at Irving Plaza. And she sent me a picture of them. And I just saw one picture of them, all spooky looking and stuff. And they were doing 2 nights at Irving Plaza in a row. And I went, and it was completely packed. And the feeling that I got when this guy came out on stage, there was a big Ouija board curtain hanging up in front, but you could kind of see through it. There were lights in the back. And this motherfucker comes out on stilts, dripping wet with all this weird shit and makeup and no eyebrows. And I was fucking scared. I was scared. And I was like, what is this? And people were just losing their minds. And that was a big moment for me. I was instantly hooked and terrified and excited. And I'll never forget that moment. And that was at Irving Plaza. And so it's always been a gift to be able to play on that stage. And, and I really love the way the room is set up, because when you're on that stage, some stages, when you're on, you're you feel like you're in a shoebox, and then the crowd is outside of the shoebox watching you. And the way that place is, it is like one of those shoebox stages, but the ceiling is super, super high, and there's a balcony. So while you're in this shoebox, it feels like the crowd is all right on. It's really easy and great to get a vibe from the crowd there. Why do lots of bands love playing in Russia? Why are Russians fans the best? I don't know why. I don't know why. Every time I go to Russia, everyone is so excited to have us, and the shows are shows in Russia are what, there's certain places that we play shows now where the crowds are standoffish, and they're just, people are kind of a little more uptight, and they it's a little harder to get them to let loose during a show, and people are quieter or whatever. I don't know if it's oversaturation of the arts or the internet, or everything being so accessible at all times. People being spoiled by going to so many shows. I don't know what it is that makes certain places like this, but Russia is not like that. And um, it reminds me of when I went to shows when I was a kid. I would just go to shows to go to shows. If my friends were like, I'm going to this concert and never heard of the band, I'd be like, okay, I'm coming too. And then I'd be either a fan of that band at the end of the day or not. And like, that's how I used to discover bands, you know? And I feel like that's exactly how Russia still is. And I'm jealous. I wish that I could experience that. Every once in a while a new band comes out and I'll be lucky enough to be at their show in New York, and you're in there and you're like, this, I'm experiencing something special right now, you know? And I really feel like everyone in Russia that's at a show feels like that at all times. No one takes anything for granted, it seems like there, and no one is jaded, and it's an amazing, amazing energy. And I'm so thankful that I get to play there. Also, every show in South America is like that also. It's such an honor to play in front of crowds like that, and such a gift. And there's lots of shows like that in other places too, but like really Russia and South American shows are on a whole other level with that. Worst TV, Netflix, whatever show you watch. The first thing that comes to mind is Nip Tuck. Does everyone remember that show? It was like when big TV, like TV series got popular and stuff. There was like Lost, Dexter, Breaking Bad around this time. There were, to me, those were all the shows that started coming out that were more like really long movies. Nip Tuck was one of those shows, and I got really into it. It was really, really good. And I think there was 3 seasons, maybe 4. And then something happened in the last season. I don't know what happened, but it got so bad that I never even finished it. That was such a bummer. Why the switch to no meat? First of all, before I say this, I would just like to say that I don't judge anyone that eats meat. It was totally a personal decision. And I'm not the person that's like, I'm vegan, you need to be vegan. I'm actually not vegan right now. It's something that I consider myself to struggle with. I want to be vegan. When I'm touring a lot, it's really, really hard to be vegan. Especially in some countries like Russia, actually. Like, it's really not in the culture. I know more and more places around the world are starting to become vegan friendly, but certain places are a lot more vegan friendly than others. And Russia is one of the places that, and a lot of places in South America, these are big meat cultures, and it's very, people just are not quick to be like, oh yeah, we should have no meat options. And for me, whenever I wasn't eating meat, I always felt good. I had a good energy inside my body. In life, I just felt like good. And whenever I ate meat, I felt run down and shitty afterwards. And I just started kind of looking into it. And, it always felt weird. My girlfriend's texting me. She's not here right now. Let me just see and make sure that some crazy shit. Oh, okay. No Neck Ed. We could talk about him later. Anyone know about No Neck Ed? Okay. We'll come back to that. Anyway, look, I feel like at a certain point in your life, maybe it was a product of where I was at in my life at the time and the journey I'm on, I really started holding myself accountable for things and trying to be a better person. And one thing that I always had in the back of my head was eating animals. And I was just like, I love animals. And I always thought it was a weird disconnect that people just assumed for themselves, where they just eat animals and think it's okay and stuff like that. And it always felt weird to me, even while I was still eating the animals and enjoying eating the animals and stuff like that. And it really just bothered me that I did it. And so, for example, my mom's kind of old fashioned, and you know, they're actually, my parents, funny enough, are taking after they're trying to eat super healthier now and not eat a lot of meat at all. And I'm very proud of them for it. But like, for example, if I had, you know, it would be fine to have a steak. But if I said, oh, like, let's have this, Mom, I ate goat, she'd be like, what? Are you fucking kidding me? That's disgusting. And it's like, why is that any different? Like someone down the line thought it was going to be like okay to eat a cow. Why is it different if we eat a goat? And then there's people in China who are eating dogs and stuff like that. And like, don't get me wrong, I think that that's totally crappy and terrible, but it's no different than eating a cow. Like, just because people have dogs as pets doesn't mean that cows don't have feelings. And I just thought that was, you know, I'm not going to shove all this shit down people's throats, but basically what I did, because I was having this turmoil in my head for years and years and years, I just Googled all of the stuff that everyone gets angry when people show and talk about, of animals being tortured and killed and all this and gross things about how they're treated, and also the proof that, you know, exactly like what we're going through right now. Well, you know, who knows? There's a lot of speculation about where this illness or virus really came from, but mad cow disease, bird flu, all these diseases that were salmonella, all these things are coming from animals and eating animals, and like they're being raw animal matter and bacteria, you know? And to me, I just watched everything that had to do with that until for days, until I was so disgusted that I know I'll never eat meat again. And, you know, now that I'm touring a lot, when I'm home, it's easy to buy what I want to eat that's healthy and keep it at home and just eat vegan stuff. But when I'm on tour, it's hard when all this other food's around. Sometimes I only have this one meal and they give it to me and I don't get to eat again until later. And there's cheese or milk in it or whatever. And I was like, fuck it. I just have to eat this stuff right now. And like, you know, so I plan to be stricter about it. And it's something that I strive for, you know. And I do feel shitty that I eat that stuff still, but right now I am still eating that stuff. So, and I do not judge any of you for anything you eat. Okay. I did not see the new Kids on the Block cartoon series. Did I listen to Linkin Park? Absolutely. In the past, I posted something about writing a book on my life. Am I still doing it? Yeah, I have a note in my phone where it's always the things that like pop in my head. Like I can sit down and write, you know, everything that happened that I remember since I was born and now, but like once in a while something pops in my head or someone tells a story that I totally forgot about, and I put those in the note in my phone so that when I write my book, I can have those stories in there too. Have you ever kissed a guy? If yes, how was it? Yes, I've kissed guys before. How was it? It was different than kissing a girl, and it wasn't something that I wasn't grossed out or anything, but I definitely wasn't like enjoying it. So like in a different way, I don't know. I'm trying to think of how to word this. I mean, yeah, I experimented when I was younger, you know, and I know that I'm definitely straight, but I'm also like very feminine inside my head. So I don't know, but I'm straight. But like, you know, oftentimes, when I'm single, I will still kiss guys, just cause. I saw AFI there at Roseland. Love the spiritual quotes from the tour bus. Do you have one to get you through this time? I don't have a specific quote getting me through this time. Rather, a mind frame about it that I guess it would make a lot of sense to share. I think that in any situation that happens, there's a lesson, and while there's, of course, negative things, it's easy to focus on. There's always positive things too. Okay, and I like to think that I've conditioned myself to be the kind of person that if I lost an arm, yeah, that would suck, and I'd allow myself a little time to grieve about that lost arm before I said, at least I have one arm, and there's people out in this world that don't have any arms. I mean, things could always be worse. Always. No matter how fucking terrible they seem, they could always be worse, right? So just that they're not worse, that's something right there to be thankful for. So whenever anything bad happens, that's the first place my mind always goes. So there's that. And I think if you start there with anything that happens in your life, it's easier to find things that you're grateful for in places that seem unusual to find things that you're grateful for. And if you're able to do that, it's like a Jedi mind trick. I've experienced that really great things surround you in your life, great people and great energies. When you're able to give off an energy like that, good things happen to you. Case in point, that I'm now in a band with people that I'm really vibing with in a really positive way, that share a very similar outlook. I think when everyone is putting out that energy that they are without knowing it for sure, and if you're conscious of that, and you always try and wake up and think of everything you're grateful for, and go to bed and think about everything you're grateful for, and just, last night I was a little upset with Emma, and I caught myself going to bed angry, so I stopped myself. But to be fair, Emma's awesome, and me and Emma are awesome. I think that it's a little trying to be on top of one another like this. I'm actually fine being home. She is, all the people that are used to just working in the city or just like having jobs, like those seem to be the people that are really freaking out right now, because they can't just go and do their job and do normal stuff. Like, I don't know. So I'm just rolling with the punches. The way I look at this time right now is that there's a lot of speculation over different conspiracies and weird shit. And like, you know what? I enjoy going down some rabbit holes sometimes, and I am guilty of, going to my roommates, being like, just this thing I just heard, just to like see where the conversation goes and stuff. But I really, really don't focus on that stuff. All that matters to me is that I'm healthy. I'm in touch with my family, that they're healthy, that I can keep them in a positive attitude, that I can keep you guys in a positive attitude. It's really important for me to talk about this right now to you guys. It's one of the reasons why I started the Patreon. I thought this could be a really positive thing for all of us. And I see this as a sort of reset right now. I think that there's a lot of good things happening for the environment because everyone's not out and doing what we would normally be doing and using our cars and making pollution and stuff like that. It's giving people a chance to focus on themselves, to better themselves. I'm finding new things to occupy my time that I get a lot out of, like the Patreon. One of my favorite things to do on tour is the meet and greets. I don't know if you guys ever noticed, but I'm the one that's always making the wacky meet and greet themes because I want to do something fun and like for everyone to have a fun experience, right? So like for me, this is a way to do these meet and greets from home, which is awesome. And continue to do them on tour even before and after the real meet and greet. I just love it. I just love being in touch with people and sharing my vibe. And so I really, as far as this moment in time goes, I just see this as an opportunity to challenge myself to be positive and be positive for other people, for myself, for my family, for my friends, and to just remain active in creating good content for people, and to be a light. And that's a gift, to be able to do that, even if it's just for your cousin or your mom or something. Like, you can do that too. You should do it. You know, try and make someone smile today. It feels good. Top 5 Disney movies. I instantly went to my least favorite Disney movie, which is Frozen. And everyone's saying Frozen 2 is so much better right now, but I couldn't get through it. Top 5 Disney movies. I feel so silly asking this. Is Toy Story a Disney movie? Because Toy Story is like one of my favorite movies of all time. And I can't believe I forgot the name of this movie. Hold on a second. One of my favorite movies of all time. I forgot the names of it. The name of it. Okay, duh. Coco. Coco is like one of my favorite movies of all time, like top 10, and I forgot the name of it. So yeah, Toy Story, Coco, Up, and probably like, you know, Beauty and the Beast, Lion King, the older ones, you know. Do I like rap music, especially talking about Eminem, Tupac, and all? Yes, I really. It's some of my favorite music. Actually, talking about top 10s or whatever. One of my favorite. I'm really big on pop music because I think that a lot of money. Yeah, there is some magic in a band getting together in a room and recording a record like Rage Against the Machine. I don't know if anyone ever saw that documentary of the Sound City, where they talked about how Rage Against the Machine recorded their first record, where they didn't want to do it in separate rooms, and they recorded it live in a room, all playing together with friends and fans sitting around the room playing that record in front of them. That's awesome. And you get a certain vibe from that. But like, there's a lot to appreciate, I think, from pop music and hip hop and rap music too. If it's done well, millions of dollars are going into a lot of the equipment that's used, and the knowledge that these producers have for all the artists they've worked with and stuff like that. And one of my favorite producers is Dr. Dre, and the Chronic 2001 record is in my top 5 records of all time. I know every single breath that you can hear on that record. When I listen to it, it's like ingrained in my soul. Whenever I'm DJing at the Rapside parties, I'm always throwing in actually Tupac and Eminem songs for sure. California Love is a big one, which I always get a kick out of playing that in Europe, and everyone gets stoked. I'm like, yeah, California. What led to, I feel like I'm surprised no one asked that before you, Mina. That's a very good question. What led to my decision to leave Combichrist? Was there a lack of positivity or a kind of discord within the band? Do you still keep in touch with Andy? The reason that I finally decided to leave Combichrist was that I just felt like I wasn't growing anymore as a person, as a musician. I've personally felt held back there, and that has nothing to do with those guys. I'm still friends with those guys, and yeah, I still keep in touch with Andy. Not so much. I mean, Andy is, even when we were in the band together, Andy was the guy that was like really hard to get in touch with between tours. He just kind of goes and does his own thing. But every once in a while, we'll I'll see a meme and I'll be like, oh my God, like I know Andy's the only one that'll get this the way I do, and I'll send it to him, and things like that. So we're totally cool. Andy's like my brother, but I think that it's important in life to really be able to take a step back and objectively look at where you're at and be as rational as possible. When you have so much emotions and history involved with something, it's really hard to do that. And I talk about it a lot in relation to a relationship with someone, like getting a divorce or I'm divorced, and I've also been in a lot of relationships that I didn't know how to get out of, because it seems a lot harder to get out of it. A lot harder to get out of it than stay in it when you're in the middle of it, right? And then eventually you're just becoming more and more bitter with each other and not getting along, and you have silly fights all the time and stuff. And I feel like that's where eventually Combi Christ got, because I had been in the band for so long with Andy, and then there was a lot of other people that were coming in and out, and it was just, there was a very blurred line of, it just got really weird, to be honest. And the band just started kind of operating in a different way than what I wanted to do. I mean, I'm very creative, and I have a lot of ideas and stuff like that. And everyone, the best kind of situation is like when, everyone's on the same page and like wanting to listen to everyone's ideas and stuff like that. But it's like when you're in a crappy relationship, and then your significant other is like, hey, how about we go to Atlantic City this weekend? You're like, I want to go to Atlantic City, Once you get there in the relationship, it's like, and in the past, I mean, it would have been normal for me to stay in a relationship like that or stay in a band like that, but with all this work I've been doing on myself after I got sober, and really trying to like get my head on my shoulders and be more positive and learn to love and respect myself, I realized that it just wasn't a place for me to be able to grow anymore. And there was new people coming into the band that I think still had the energy that would be able to kind of bring something to the table that wasn't tainted the way my relationship with the band was. And it was kind of like it just made sense. It just really made sense at that moment. And for everyone, I mean, it's not, I called Andy and I let him know I was leaving the band, and he wasn't saying, oh, I really wish you'd stay. He was like, I totally understand, I love you forever. And, maybe we'll play again together one day, let's do our own thing for a while. And we, it's totally fucking cool. And I wish the best for those guys. Do I miss something about my previous life? I mean, that's a weird question, because I guess if I really think about it, I could go down a negative rabbit hole and think about things that I miss. But the things that I miss about getting fucked up, I mean, there was a lot of like bad stuff that came with that too. I was like always pissing a lot of people off, and like, doing stupid shit and trying to keep myself out of trouble. Like, I was the guy that like, someone would say something about like getting naked and running through a Walmart, and if I was wasted, I'd be like, "What'd you say?" And I'd take all my clothes off and run through the Walmart and get arrested. Like, yeah, it sounds funny and everything, but if I'm gonna look back on that, like, it's while it's funny to have those stories and stuff, like I'm not really proud of those moments or anything. So, and nor would I want to leave an example like that for my son, who's now 11 and almost 12. So, I don't miss anything. I accept that things happen and I can look back on them fondly, but I'm more excited about manifesting what's in my future. Have I ever been to New York Comic Con? Well, it's funny you should ask that because I always want to take my son to it, and I'm always like, oh, it's like so hard to get tickets, and it's like I'm always like, nah, and then it's happening. So all the costumes, and I'm like, fuck, I should have done this. So not too long ago, I was in Manhattan. It was like 3 years ago when it was happening with my son. And I was like, you know what? Let's go in the city an hour early today, and we're just gonna go to Comic-Con right as it's closing, and we'll just go in and see if we can like see anything. And I took him to it, and I plan to really take him to it and like get the tickets, because we went in when they were like kicking everyone out, and he was excited. So I'll take him one year. Being a part of Patreon, am I a member of any? Yeah, I am a member of Daniel's, and I think that might be it for now. I feel like there's someone else. I don't know. In which fantasy world would I like to live? In the one where all the people in Lord of the Rings died, and it's like really shiny. Stephanie, I don't think I have a question. I just wanted to thank you for being super cool with me at a meet and greet forever ago. Made me feel a lot more comfortable to be there. Can you tell me which meet and greet it was? I'm curious. Sometimes it'll jog my memory and then I can remember. See if there's anything else I missed. Okay, guys, looks like things are slowing down, so unless anyone has anything else. Do, 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 do. I am a Lord of the Lost fan, yes, and friend. I've known Chris for way before Lord of the Lost was even a thing. Pittsburgh Combi Christ Diesel was the venue. I do remember. Yes. That was a weird stage too. Do you remember that? It was kind of cool, but there was the stage and it was like kind of high, and then the crowd was like really skinny right in front of the stage, and then it went out. But there was only like, I don't know, like 10 people that could be like in here, like 10 people in each row until it opened up. That was weird. Aesthetic Perfection is rescheduling the US tour. Yes. I even know when it is. And I don't think I'm allowed to say it yet. But if you're in the Let's Be Friends tier, you either already know or you can ask me and I will tell you. Because that's the super secret tier. Timmy, do you remember how we met? I still thank you to this day for everything. I think, all right, well, give me a minute. I think it had something to do with Manson, right? Did I like hook you up with Dan or something like that? Or was it the dope meet and greet where I got you into it or something? I don't know, remind me. And I'll talk about it. forever ago on Tumblr, I saw someone summarize an old tour diary story that involved you getting drunk and waking up surrounded by chicken bones in someone else's bed. I don't remember that one. There's a lot of stuff, and I'm not proud to say it, but there's a lot of stuff from when I used to get fucked up that I just don't remember. One of the more embarrassing things is when I'm meeting people again for the first time. I even have experienced forgetting relationships that I've had, for like serious relationships with girls I've run into. And I didn't remember who they were at first, and they had to remind me that we used to date. And that's it. I'm not, if you're laughing, don't. I'm not saying this to be funny. It's super embarrassing. You know, I used to get so wasted that I think that I affected some parts of my memory, you know, and a lot of times people come up to me, they're like, "Do you remember me? We got fucking wasted that one weekend, and we did." And I'm like, "Let's meet again for the first time," you know. And I feel so bad when that happens because, you know, I'm sure we had a great time, and I understand why you would hold that memory dear, and I feel bad that I don't remember it, but I mean, don't take offense, because it's like I fucked myself up. You know, that's a big part of getting healthy for me now, is to not be like that anymore. So, I don't remember the chicken bone thing. Missed you when I came to Berlin Plusveld from Scotland, but hopefully you'll come over sometime. Yeah, I think we're going to be announcing some European stuff shortly too. Alex, you're excited for the concerts in Germany, and you will be watching from the stage, and I will provide you with a helmet so that you don't get hurt. Yes, Timmy, it was the Louisville meet and greet with Dope and Combi Christ. That was the place. That was a strip club, right? That venue. And actually, I remember that we were staying at the hotel across the street, which was really shitty, and I found bed bugs. And I went down to the front desk and I was like, "You got to give me another room." I found bed bugs in 2 more rooms, and then they kicked us out of the hotel. They're like, "You can't stay here." That sucked. And I think, and there was no other hotels, and we had to sneak back into one of the rooms and sleep there with the bed bugs in the room with like inside bags. I would rather adopt R2-D2 because I would not have to clean up after his poop. Stefan, do you remember how we met? You got to give me a hint, because we've met up a million times. But I can't remember. Did we meet when I was still wasted? I don't remember. Give me a hint. Aaron, yes, you can have a helmet too. Oh yes, Mexico. Okay, cool. Yes, I do remember, because you were at the Rammstein New Year's Eve thing, and you, wait a minute, 9 Inch Nails. Were you wearing a 9 Inch Nails shirt? Was I at 9 Inch Nails in Mexico? What's going on? I remember you coming up to me in Mexico and going, "Hey, I'm Stefan from Germany," and I was like, "Whoa, what are you doing over here?" If I was a fantasy animal, which one would I be? Well, that's an easy one. I'll let everyone else answer. Unicorn. My biggest fail in the kitchen when I was when I was still living at my parents' house. I came home wasted one night. I was a teenager, and I went in the refrigerator, and I was like, man, I want to eat. My parents were sleeping, and I put like I don't know how I remember this. I remember this though, but it was like a salmon dinner with potatoes inside. I put it in a pan, put it on the stove, sat on the couch, and passed out. And I woke up to my parents completely freaking out with the smoke alarm going off and the fire alarm beeping and smoke in the house. So I almost burned the house down. That was a pretty bad one. Eugenio, you said I first met you backstage in Leipzig at the Rammstein during the Liebes für Alle tour, and then a year later in the Combi Christ in Italy with the Pope thing. I didn't realize that we met before then. So but also so that first leg of that Rammstein tour that we did, I hardly remember it because I used to drink a lot then. That was like really in the prime of my alcohol abuse, and I was just getting divorced during that tour. So it got really bad. I didn't know how to handle all this stuff, and we would go on stage at 8 or 9 every night. I would be up all night partying, right? So I would wake up 2 hours before we went on stage, and I would always have to be wasted when I went on stage, which was a big challenge for me when I decided to get sober. But I'd wake up 2 hours before I went on stage. I would start drinking 1 hour before I went on stage. So I was only sober for an hour every day. By the time I got off stage every night, I'd be blacked out and I'd party, and I don't remember anything hardly of the whole tour. Yes, I do have the key holder still. I'm just trying to think of where it is. It might be. You got to look around for it. Yes. And what Nine Inch Nails song was I playing in that set? Let me try and remember. What was that? It was a remix of something on With Teeth. I forget. Yes, Aaron, I have your unicorn on a stick. Anything of note? Picking up new things to keep myself occupied during the quarantine. Anything of note besides the Patreon? Not yet. The Patreon's actually been a lot of work. I've been thinking about doing a Patreon for like a year, and I just never felt like I had a good idea of what to do. I had ideas, and I had a note going of how I would do it and stuff. And then I just really, one day I was like, funny enough, I did it before all this stuff happened. I didn't know that this was going to happen. So it all just kind of lined up. It's almost like the universe knew that this is the time I was going to need to really dive into it and make it what it was going to be. And then I released it. The next day I lost my other job. And then it was just crazy. And then everyone's not allowed to go anywhere. It was just, oh my goodness. And now I'm like, whoa, at least I have this, right? And it's been awesome. It's been challenging for me to figure out how to organize everything because I'm not so smart, but I figured it all out now. And now I have my flow. And the funny thing is like when you're reading in Patreon, it's like everything is like, yeah, fuck spreadsheets. No one wants to use spreadsheets. So use this, use this, use this. So basically the first 2 weeks of this month, when I was trying to figure out how to organize everything as good as possible, was me downloading all these different apps and getting all these like other things on the web and signing up for them, creating all the everything, putting everyone's info in it before I go, this is fucking so complicated. And then trying another idea and another idea. And I finally just put everything in a spreadsheet and it's the best. So super easy. Now from here on out, I can just like add people super easy. There's no like, I have my flow down. Do you think you would survive Game of Thrones? Nope. Ginger's messages are not getting through, but she wants to know if the cats like the catnip mouse that she made for them. It's funny you should ask that, because just last night I was thinking about where they are, because they were a lot smaller when I brought those home, and we ran out of cat. I used to have this catnip spray that I would spray on a scratching post, and Fernet would freak out and like do his catnip dance, you know, when he'd be like, and roll around the floor for like 5 minutes. And one of the kittens liked that mouse, I think. And I started thinking, like, I wonder if like I can. They're older now. I can get them like hooked on the drugs, you know. So I want to find the little catnip mouse. It's got to be around here somewhere, and see if. But I don't know if that stuff wears off or something. Maybe I have to get the spray and spray it. And yes, it was a good time to mess up my ankle. Yeah, if I was on tour, I would have continued to play drums because the shows still have to go on. But thankfully, if there was ever a time in my life to hurt my ankle like this, it was now, right? What was funny was I was kind of in a rut. Like, one thing that I need to improve upon right now is my eating and exercise habits, which me and Katie were talking about over text. I feel like I'm just not being that healthy right now, and I keep saying to myself, like, I can do better, and then get hungry and I go, but it's quarantine, and I just do whatever the fuck I want. And what happened was, what was funny was, I hadn't been jogging. I only jogged a few times in like a couple of weeks, and like I hadn't been doing my exercise routine that I would normally do on tour and stuff. And I came off of the Lindemann tour like so fucking stoked and healthy, feeling and fit, right? And I literally said to Emma, "Hey babe, you know what? Like, I've been in a crappy mood for a few days. You know what I need to do? I need to go jogging every day by myself, you know, collect my thoughts, run to the water, express gratitude, run home, have a smoothie." And she was like, "I think that's a really great idea." And then an hour later is when I hurt my ankle. So that's what happened. Are your cats afraid of cucumbers? I've tried that. No. I wish that they were, because that would be ridiculous. They do have their own weird little nuances, but there is no fear of cucumbers. Okay, it's been almost 2 hours. And while I would like to continue staying here forever, I think that I want to save some questions for next time, because I'm going to do these every month. I think that I'm probably going to have to, yes, I'm afraid of cucumbers. I think that I'm probably going to have to answer a lot of these questions over and over. So with the coming weeks, with new people and stuff, which I'm fine with, I'm used to. That's one thing that people in bands that are always in a new land every day have to get used to, is like answering the same questions over and over. So I will do it graciously and probably put a new spin on it. You know, in a year when you hear the reason why I left Comedy Christ, maybe it'll turn into that I fell down a flight of stairs, and I don't know. I'm just being silly now. But you're welcome. You have an awesome day too. I'm gonna end this video now, and I'm gonna figure out what to do with it. I don't know if is it cool if I like save it and post it for the people in the lower tier to see? I don't know. Or is that fucked up because like everyone else is like because they weren't able to participate, right? But maybe they'd like to see it. I don't know. What do you guys think? Should I do that? I don't know. But I'm going to end it and then decide and figure it out. But seriously, Christian thinks yes. But thank you guys so much for hanging with me. Thanks for being patient. I'm reading this as I'm saying this. Thanks for being patient with me as I was finding my flow, and you should be getting all your perks and stuff earlier next month. So I don't know what else to say. I just really love this. It's such a gift to be able to do this and be in touch with all of you, and you know, become closer with all you guys. Let's grow this community. Yeah, spread the word, please. All right, I'm going to end the stream now. Everyone say bye. Bye-bye. Look at my nipples.